Hey guys, what's up? It's the Merc here from Poolshed Games, and tonight is going to be an episode of the Dry Dock. Now, normally I would try to do an episode of the shipyard, but I've got some painting done and I wanted to kind of show it off to you guys. Now, I had been working on my Federated States of America, and I've got all my frigates done, I got my Saratoga, and I got the Boston above the water done. Normally, I don't like to jump around on projects. I'd like to finish one fleet before I move on to the next. However, I did this painting last weekend on Friday when I had nothing going on, and it was super cold outside. Now, that being said, I had my Covenant of Antarctica stuff down here because I've been doing the shipyard with it and kind of going over the units with you guys. So I decided, what the hell, I'll sit down and I will have a crack at getting a color scheme that I want to do for my Antarcticans. And that led to me sitting down and pulling all my frigates out of the foam that they're currently in. I don't know why I like to use frigates as my test model, mostly because I ended up with an extra one for like all my fleets, so I have that one to butcher for paint scheme testing, and I did. Some of you guys, well, all of you that have watched the videos know that I've been kind of contemplating whether or not I wanted to do, what color scheme I wanted to do for my my Covenant. And I had been toying around with the idea of a red color scheme or maybe a like dark green. And I had initially started with a dark green, and part of it was my impatience. I didn't let the first layer dry before I inked it, and I didn't let the ink dry before I tried to dry brush the next layer. But overall, I wasn't generally happy with the way it turned out, and it's probably going to be moderately hard to tell. But this was my first mock-up color scheme, and it was a real, I think it was Trader Green with a armor wash, and then a lighter green that I dry brushed over top of it. I had a plan to do about 3 to 4 layers of green, building up the gradient until I had a color that I liked. It just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like it looked right on it for some reason to me. So I set that one aside, and I remembered how good metallics looked on my Convergence for War Machine. And the Convergence are a very clockwork, almost steampunk sci-fi looking faction when it comes to War Machine. And the Covenant in Dystopian Wars have that same kind of feeling where they're very steampunky, high-tech. They almost look like they don't fit, but they fit. That's the look that I've always kind of felt with the Covenant, and that's why one of the reasons I picked the fleet. I really liked it. So, also I just think I like painting blue. As you guys know, my Federated States are like a dark kind of naval blue, blue-gray, which I intentionally I had first meant for them to be more of a gray. But just with the way the highlighting and the shading ended up, and the colors I picked, they ended up being a darker blue, almost like a colonial blue. And I'm happy with the way they turned out, don't get me wrong. But that brings me to my Covenant and the color scheme that I ended up with on these models, which is a metallic blue with gold piping and turrets, kind of gold accents. Now, I don't know if you guys... And there's turquoise back here where I believe the engine should be. I think you can kind of make that out. That's just turquoise ink. I don't know with this camera and this lighting, and I am going to try to get better lighting. Maybe a camera box or something to take pictures in. Don't know if you can tell that the edging and stuff I think really kind of pops on these. And part of that is I used 3 different inkings on the models. I started with a metal color. I think it was mithril silver. And then I inked it with armor wash all over. Then I dry brushed it with a nice dark blue. I think it was Signar base, I think it was Signar base. and then I inked that with blue ink, and both the inks, well, the Armor Wash, I didn't water down at all. I used it straight out of the dropper bottle, so it was full on potency, and it was really dark. And that's what got into all the cracks and crevices and really darkened them up for me. The blue ink, I watered down I think I used 3 drops of ink to 1 drop of water, which made it just a little bit runnier, but kept a nice dark consistency, which I think helped to bring out the color in the model. And after I did that, I dry brushed it again with a Radiant Platinum. And then I dry brushed it with another blue, Frostbite. And all my colors are Privateer Press colors because it's a big paint set that I got. So that was how I got that metallic blue. And originally I was going to do the turrets and like the viewports and the piping. Well, not the piping, but the viewports and the turrets. I was going to do yellow because I kind of wanted a pop, a contrasting color. I did that on one model and it looked horrible. Part of it is because it was yellow and I hate painting yellow. I don't think I'll ever paint something that's totally yellow. The other part of it was just, it didn't look right. It was too bright. So I ended up with the Blighted Gold, which is the same color, one of the colors I used in my Convergence. And I think it gave the gold a really dark look that over top of the paint that was already there really made it look nice. Now, some of the concerns I have with this color scheme is when I scale it up to a bigger model, like I was even looking at the Heavy Destroyers, it's just going to be a lot of metallic blue and gold. I'm not sure how I feel about that. And granted, everywhere that there's like engines or like bits that look like they should glow with energy, I'm going to use turquoise ink to kind of try to bring that out. And I might actually use some dry brushing with like necrotite green and things to kind of give it a glow look. But I feel kind of like there should be a third color on there. And granted, I mean there's like 6 colors on the model to begin with, but most of those are building up the base color. And on the bigger ships that have decking, there will be a wood color to kind of break up the pattern. But I feel like there should be another color. And looking at the model, the place I thought would be kind of a good place to do a different color is on the sides. They have those, I think they're like armor plates. They're like little fins. There you go. You can see them there. These. And I was thinking that might be a really good spot to do like a spot color, a bright color to make it pop. Now, granted, that brings me to the problem of that's all well and good, but when I get to bigger ships that don't have the simple place to put the spot color, where am I going to put it? And also, what color will I use for a spot color? I'm going to look online a little bit to see what colors complement blue. I haven't painted enough to know what colors complement each other really well, and I would like to find that color that'll really complement the blue. I'm going to talk to Dom. He's kind of like the resident painter in our group, and ask him what he thinks might look good, and if he thinks that the 4 armor plates that are on the ship would look good in a spot color, if maybe the nose cone would look good in a spot color. But that's kind of the plan for the Antarcticans. Now I can happily say that my Russians, and these is naval forces, my Russian naval forces are almost completely finished. They were completely finished until Christmas when I got the support pack with the Katunga and the support cruisers with the mortars and the heavy frigates. I need to paint those. And now both my FSA and my Antarcticans I have started. This is huge steps for me. Because back in the day, I'd undercoat and just let it undercoated forever. And I think part of that was because I didn't really like painting the models that I had. But now I'm on my way. This color scheme is a little bit easier than the FSA one because there's less colors. which if I add a spot color, it'll change it a little bit. Neither of them are more fun to paint than the other. This one is a little bit more eye-catching, I think, because it's that metallic blue. It's almost like a hot rod color. I'm tempted to try doing some kind of camouflage, but I have no idea how I would do it. I thought about maybe taking like a piece of like pluck foam and doing like a sponge on with like some green or something, like a dark green, to give it a mottled look. But I don't want to end up doing that and have ruined the effect that I've gotten with my metallics. So I'm open to suggestions, guys. Any suggestions you might have on how to maybe give these guys a little bit more color, or if you think by just adding a little bit more of a glow effect to the engine that it has enough color as it is, let me know, because I'm having a lot of fun doing the painting, and I want to make them look as good as I possibly can. And I think with some input from you guys, it'll be helpful. With that said, that's going to do it for me here tonight. I get home from work, so I'm just kind of relaxing, decompressing, and I decided I'd make this video. And hopefully you guys liked the video. Hope you guys like my color scheme. If you do, let me know. And like I said, any comments on a spot color or what color complements blue, especially metallic blue, leave it in the comments below. I'd really appreciate it. If you guys like the video, if you like what we're doing here, give us a thumbs up, share us with your friends, subscribe if you haven't already. Really appreciate it. It helps us grow. It helps us get out there. And we'll see you next time here at Bullshit Games.